So, in case you didn't know, the second season of The Lord of the Rings is out, and once again the writers break the lore at every chance they get. The most recent one is making orcs not completely evil, to be male and female, and to even be able to have babies. Now, to be frank, it's nice to have bad guys who are not one-dimensional and who care about their family besides killing and destroying. I am not against that. What I am against is changing the lore to such an extent the orcs are now a completely different species. If this show wasn't tied to the lore of a pre-existing franchise and it was its own thing, I wouldn't have an issue with it. In fact, I would openly prefer these orcs over Tolkien's. But since they are part of a pre-existing lore, you can't expect me to accept any change you make to them, or to the lore of anything for that matter. There are hundreds of analysis videos per episode that break down all the vandalism to the lore. It's just way too much and mentioned everywhere, so you can't ignore it. Now, with that said, it isn't the first time such a thing has happened. It's not a recent thing either. Star Trek is notorious for rewriting its races since the 80s. The Klingons of the original series are not the same Klingons of those of the Next Generation. The Ferengi of the Next Generation are not the same Ferengi of Deep Space Nine. But you're not hearing many nagging about that. Partly because there never was much of a lore for those species, and in fact it was written as the episodes were coming out. Also because there was no internet full of 40-year-old nerds nagging all day about breaches to the lore. Does that make it okay? No, but it was much easier to ignore such things back then. Nowadays you can obliterate millennia-old holy scriptures in mere seconds with on-screen evidence. Nothing can escape the overthinkers and the overcriticals of today. Every single plot hole you would ignore in Star Wars during the 70s, now someone is gonna be constantly pointing it out and you won't be able to ignore it. Does that make it okay? Only if you don't care about good writing and only if you don't feel entitled to defend the show you like. Because if you do, they will shred you to pieces, and you will make yourself and the fandom you are part of to come off as idiots. And chances are you won't be able to hold yourself. You will have the urge to defend the show even if you have to taquilla your way through it. So it's not really about breaching the lore as it is about being bothered by it and being unable to keep your mouth shut.